Maria, I don't think there's ever been a more sudden and swift change in any government operation than under President Trump when he took the oath of office. I would say overnight, but on the first hour of his tenure as president, we saw the change where there were military sent to the border. The military were blocking people from crossing the border illegally. The numbers of people who crossed on the 19th of January dropped dramatically on the 20th of January. They have continued to drop, and every single day, President Trump, working with Tom Homan, they've been deporting people to the countries they came from.
President Trump's executive moves on the border and national emergency declaration causing action to come quicker than anybody has seen over the last 4 years. Watch this. ICE arrested more than 1,400 illegal migrants between January 23rd and 25th alone. They lodged more than 1,200 detainers. Those arrested included dozens of Tren de Aragua gang members, sending them back. Trump's border czar Tom Homan joining federal agents in Chicago yesterday for some of those immigration raids. At the same time, I was talking with Texas Governor Greg Abbott on Sunday Morning Futures. Here's what he said.
So hundreds up to close to 1,000 are being sent back across the border on a daily basis under the Trump administration. Some are going to Mexico. Others, you will see flights that are going to Guatemala and some other Central American countries. And the Trump administration is going to be sending them back to their home countries and demanding compliance by these countries that they take back the people who have crossed the border illegally. And know this, and that is right now, I would say there's two categories of people that the Trump administration is sending back. One, they're trying to go after those who are public safety threats, who are criminals, as well as national security threats. And then the other that they're sending back is that, listen, those people who think they can cross the border and stay here in the country illegally now, those days are gone. And so if anybody apprehended coming across the border is going to be sent back immediately.
Time ago, a second batch of troops arriving at Fort Bliss in Texas for a, quote, border mission. What details can you tell us about this right now?
That President Trump ordered at least 1,500 active duty troops down to the southern border. Now, we need to let Americans understand, our viewers understand, that this is not the first time troops have been at the border. In fact, they've been at the border since 2018, when President Trump actually declared a state of emergency then and deployed about 4,000 troops under Operation Guardian Support. So this is an ongoing effort. Now, it's worth noting that the Biden administration decreased that. They did keep DOD, Department of Defense soldiers down here, though, to the tune of about 2,500. So these troops are going to be supplementing the men and women that are already down here, that have already been on a border security mission. And we did get new information on crossings, on the numbers that we've been seeing, Natasha. And my gosh, I actually had to ask my sources if I was seeing incorrect numbers, because they are so staggering based on what we've been experiencing over the last 4 years. So earlier this week, we saw about 815 crossing a single day. Guess what yesterday was? 665 Border Patrol encounters across 9 sectors. That's thousands of miles in a 24-hour period. That is a drop in the bucket compared to what we saw under the Biden administration at its peak. 12,000 people in a day. Now, you'll remember under former President Obama, his DHS Secretary Jay Johnson said 1,000 people at the border is a crisis. So now we're seeing 665. We're hovering well under 1,000 since President Trump stepped back into office.
So what we did in Texas, I signed a law and then implemented the law declaring Tren de Aragua as a foreign terrorist organization. And for the past year, Texas has been working with federal, state, and local authorities to arrest and jail Tren de Aragua members here in the state of Texas. What Trump will do is apply that same strategy. He's already either done it or said he's going to do it, declare Tren de Aragua as a foreign terrorist organization under the federal law, which is even more powerful. And what Trump wants to do is to go after organizations like that, which is the largest, most deadly and consequential foreign terrorist organization, and make sure that we put them out of business. And the way we put them out of business is to put them behind bars.
Well, among the measures taken, the president has declared a national emergency at the southern border. And as part of that, the Pentagon is sending 1,500 troops to El Paso and San Diego. And it's considering sending as many as 10,000 troops to the border. They will help build more barriers there. And the military is also going to be using its planes to deport migrants and use its bases to hold migrants. The White House press secretary released 2 photos Friday morning showing deportation flights on military aircraft have already begun. And the man who the president calls his border czar, Tom Homan, says Mr. Trump's emergency order has already had an impact. Homan said last week that the numbers of apprehensions at the southern border dropped to 766 in one 24-hour period. He says that's down from an average of 10 to 12,000 apprehensions in the same time frame.
We suddenly now have a commander-in-chief who cares about national security, who cares about securing the border, who's going to enforce the law. And importantly, he has a governor in a state in Texas that will be a partner with the Trump administration.